Welcome to the absolutely amazing, world famous in our own minds, Investor Guys podcast. This is Investor Guy Kevin, and that is Investor Guy Bill right there. Bill, how you doing today?
I'm doing incredible, young man. Good to see you as always. And it's so cool to look back on this thing. I was doing this yesterday, and I'm like, my gosh, we're 200 plus episodes in this. And man, just have enjoyed every minute of it. Hope we get a chance to do another 200. And hopefully folks are finding some great real estate info.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, you and I both, we are cut from the same cloth in many ways. We love real estate. I was telling the lady the other day, a client actually, she goes, tell me about yourself in real estate. I said, you know what? If you cut me, I bleed real estate. It has just become such a huge part of our lives. And we started like anybody else. We started because of the money. We started because it is a good way to put money in your pocket. And many of you who are listening to us, that is what you're thinking about. You're thinking, you know what, I'm going to do this because it's a good investment. And it is a good investment. And a lot of people, that's the whole thing for it. For Bill and I, we have literally let this thing consume our lives, but it has happened in a good way. We eat, drink, and think real estate because we love real estate, not because we have to, because it's our industry. Both of us have had plenty of opportunity to retire and get out of this if we want. I did retire once, and I got pulled right back into it, not out of necessity, but out of love for the real estate game. And when we're here and we're talking about this is stuff that we're passionate about. So watch us, don't watch us. Bill and I will still be sitting here having these conversations. And we have conversations over the phone. We have conversations over email. It's something that is in us. And I hope for many of you, it's going to be just about the money. But for a lot of you, it's going to become a passion. And if you're looking for other people who have a passion, this is a little off our topic for today, but if you're looking for other people who have a passion, I really strongly suggest that you get involved with a real estate club, a real estate network that's near you. That is the best way to get started, and that is the best way to grow if you've already started, and find other people who are absolutely passionate about real estate. And that's who you should look for. Don't look for the person who's all numbers and who's dry and stodgy and just they're a banker. You want to find somebody who has a love and a passion for the real estate, and you'll find them really easily just by talking to them. But today's topic is on money. We've been talking about money. We're probably going to have a number of money shows because honestly, it not only makes the world go round, it is what drives real estate. It is the engine of real estate investing. So we're going to spend probably the most shows out of our Getting Back to Basics series on money, finding money, how to use money, how to leverage money. And I'm going to kick it to you, Bill. We're talking about private money today.
Yeah. So private money is the key, in my opinion, to scaling your business to whatever size you want to, being able to do an individual deal, whatever size you want to. I've always espoused and loved one deal, one house, one investor, one house, one deal. But look, when you start doing multi-million dollar, $1 million, $5 million, $10 million properties, you're going to have more than one investor, and there are plenty of ways to do that and to do it with private money. But let's get back to the real basic of raising private money. People are afraid of it because they've never done it before. They're afraid they might break the law. They've never been around it before, so might misstep. It is one of the simplest things in the world to do, especially when you're doing real estate, because it becomes a collateralized or a secured loan. But I use the script, Kev. I've been using it for almost 40 years now. And through those years, I've tweaked it to get it where it is today. And it is just spot on. I have people from time to time will go, well, won't you say this or change that? I'm like, the reason that I don't need to say this or change that was in real estate alone, I've done over $100 million of private money raising using this 16-second script. In all of my career, going back to investment banking as well, over $300 million. So I'm not remotely concerned about changing one invoice flexion paragraph, comma, period, because it works when it works. You got a car that's you're on the racetrack and it's running 250 at an oval. Somebody comes up and says, "Wow, you need to do this. It'll run a little faster." I'm like, "I'm 20 miles an hour faster than anybody else, and yeah, I've been crushing races. Why would I tinker with something? There's nobody gaining on me. This thing is working fabulously. I just want to drive it now." And that's the strip. It doesn't need tweaking, overhauling. It doesn't need a tune-up. It just needs to be driven. And it goes like this. So if I were talking to you, Kevin, I'd say something like, "Hey, Kevin, I know this isn't for you, but who do you know that might be interested in earning 10 to 12% on their money, secured by a first lien in real estate, short term, 6 to 9 months?" And then I do this. Sometimes I put duct tape over my mouth. Whatever you need to do, after you do that, you keep your mouth shut until the person you're speaking with responds. The longer they take, the more they're thinking. But it is an incredibly simple script. If you time me, it's about 16 seconds. Guys, sometimes I'll gust up and get it down to about 14 seconds, or sometimes I'm really slow and it'll be 17, 18 seconds. But it's pretty consistently a 16-second script. You can stand on your head for 16 seconds. This will unlock a tremendous number of doors from a funding standpoint to really help grow your business.
Yeah. And remember, the easiest way to find money and your first deals, the quickest, easiest way you're going to be able to fund those first deals are people who are in your circle. They may not be your inner circle, but they're going to be at least in your outer circle. And by putting this word out, that's what Bill's doing. Bill's letting people know, you know what? I'm open for business. I'll take your money, I'll invest it, and I'll put more money back into your pocket. And that's what he's doing. And that person, exactly like Bill said in his script, this may not be for you. And that person's thinking, I wish this was for me. I wish I had money in my pocket because I'd love to make 10 to 12%. Because if I put money into the bank, I'm not making that much money. Yeah. But I don't have that money. But my brother Bill does. And Bill's always looking for investments. Or my brother Ronald does. And he's always looking for investments. Or you know what? My younger sister just got married and got a whole lot of extra loot for wedding gifts. And they need to invest $20,000 or $30,000 someplace. Yeah. Put the word out there. It's that old song. I heard it through the grapevine,
There you go. Yeah.
Put that on the grapevine and
let it Motown in your business.
Let it grow. Let it make its way through the grapevine and see what you get back. And honestly, the more people you repeat that script to, or you repeat, that information to, the more response you're going to get. It is a numbers game. If you tell one person, maybe 10 people learn about it. If you tell 10 people, 100 people have heard about it. If you tell 100 people, then 1,000 people have heard about it. If there's 1,000 people out there who know that you're going to give them a 10 to 12% return on your investment, out of those 1,000 people who know that, how many people do you suppose are going to contact you and get more information to find out what your situation is? Now, that's a whole nother story, is making sure that you're ready with the information and ready with the structure in order to get that information back out to them. We'll cover that on a different show because today we're talking about money. But that is literally how easy it is. Like I said, if there's 1,000 people out there with your phone number and your name, and they know that you're going to give them a 10 to 12% return on their investment, how likely is it that you're going to have at least 2 or 3 people contact you and say, hey, you know what? Tell me about the deals that you're doing. Tell me about the projects that you have, and let's put some money into these deals and let's go ahead and get something done. Now, my timer went off, but I think we're probably up on break. So we'll be back in just a second.
Thank you for watching the Investor Guys podcast.
Live the resort lifestyle every day with Cayman K. The perfect pieces for every wardrobe. Shop the entire Cayman K collection and find your favorites. Find all our styles at CaymanK.com.
Absolution X. Lifestyle apparel like no other. Only at AbsolutionX.com. Get yours.
Live the resort lifestyle every day with Cayman K. The perfect pieces for every wardrobe. Shop the entire Cayman K collection and find your favorites. Find all our styles at CaymanK.com.
You are watching the Investor Guys podcast.
The Investor Guys podcast will be back shortly.
And we are back with the Investor Guys podcast. And today we are talking about money. Money. They write songs about it. They write books about it. They write poems about it. Your spouse is always complaining about it. Mine actually is pretty good about not doing it too much, but it is a part of our lives, inside and out, and it is the engine that makes real estate move forward, especially real estate investing. So having an understanding of it, understanding not only how it's going to work with your real estate investing career, but how to acquire money, because no matter how much money you have in your pocket, there's always more money out there. Elon Musk, I think he's the second most richest man right now. He was the richest before he bought Twitter. Second richest man in the world, okay? If he put all of his money into real estate, he could still buy more real estate if he had other people investing with him. So no matter how much you have, no matter how much you're able to put in, you are able to do more and have a greater return on your investment. If you're investing money for other people, you're not doing it necessarily out of the goodness of your heart. You're doing it so that you can make a profit. They're investing with you so they can make a profit. Now, you may not be making the full 40% on that investment. You may be making 20%, but you're making 20% on somebody else's money. That means you're making, you can't even do the math, honestly, until you put like
there's no formula that starts with zero.
Yeah,
and if you got zero invested, your return rate is infinite.
Yes. And even if you invest half of that, invest 50% of your down payment and somebody else invests the other, your return on investment becomes greater than 40%. It's not 40% of the total, but it's 40% of what you invested. So understand that. And we talk about leverage. We talk about leveraging when you purchase a property. You can leverage your down payment as well. If you leverage your down payment, you're making even more money, putting even more into your pocket. Bill, I'm going to toss it to you.
Yeah, and so we go back to the script. I know this isn't for you, but who you know that might be interested in earning 10 to 12% of their money secured by a first lien in real estate, short term, 6 to 9 months. So I think it might be appropriate to break that down and to tell people why it works the way that it does so that they have the confidence to be able to use it. That very first statement, you just let me know when we're up on break. That very first statement, hey, Kevin, I know this isn't for you. So what happens when you make that statement is you create a zero pressure zone. There's no pressure on you. I just told the person I'm talking to, this isn't for them. There's no pressure on them. I just told them this isn't for them. So you get this very relaxed conversation right out of the chute because we lead with, hey, I know this isn't for you. Or if you're in the South like I am, I know this isn't for you. So I know this isn't for you. And then I go with, but who do you know? Everybody knows somebody. Everybody knows somebody with money. And then I go through, when I'm doing classes, I go through who those people might be that are unsuspecting out there that have money to lend that we just are unaware of. Yeah, if you've ever read the book Millionaire Next Door, that's what that is. It is that process of a lot of people that have money available for investment that you would never know because they live a modest lifestyle. Or maybe because they're not bragging about the return on their investments 24/7. So they have money, and a lot of times that money may be in retirement accounts. All different kind of ways to do that. Just know that everybody knows somebody that's got money. So if you're, and I'll tell you, you may bump into something like this. I have a friend in Las Vegas who is renting a house. He goes, what's a good rent rate for Spanish Trails? We bounced some numbers around. I'm like, what's going on? He said, I'm renting this to a guy that I've known for a couple of years. I met him in the Caribbean on the beach. We had a lot in common. We hit it off. Well, the guy turns out to be a billionaire, and he's building a $2 billion casino in Cabo San Lucas. And it's like, wow, is that a good guy to know? Well, if you're looking at funding a business and you're not needing several $100 million, that's a great guy to know, because he can write a personal check out for most of that stuff. So everybody knows somebody. You just never know who they are. They don't advertise it, but everybody knows somebody. And so you want to have that person that you're talking with. You want their Rolodex and their internal Rolodex and those wheels turning, knowing that they're thinking about somebody. So I'm never the first person to say something when I stop at the end of the script, and I wait for them. And sometimes it's an invariably long time. And then you find out it was a minute and a half. But a minute and a half on the phone with somebody or face to face with somebody with nothing being said can seem like an eternity, but it's not. So you gotta, but
and having the scripts is just one of your tools. Okay.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to get out there and start sharing this script. But at the same time, and again, this is something for a different show. At the same time, make sure that you're putting your other tools in place. Okay. Don't tell people you want money if you're not out looking at real estate, because you get a phone call and they say, what do you have that's going on? What do you have? What projects you working on? What do you need to fund right now? I got to get out there and do something. That doesn't make you look professional. You know, if you say, well, I don't know, I got to go see what there is on the MLS. Okay. You need to have deals that you have in your head. Even if you don't have the funding, go out there and look for those deals, because if somebody says, hey, I've got the funding for you, you say, hey, I've got the deal for you. And more than that, you want to have a general prospectus. It doesn't have to be property specific. You can give them the details about the property that you have, but you want a general prospectus that is going to outline how it's going to work for them. And again, we'll cover this in a different show, but nobody's going to give you their money without some sort of information. And make sure you've got that information to provide them when somebody calls you. Because again, if you use this script, if you're out there telling enough people, I promise, I guarantee you, Bill can tell you from his own personal experience, you're going to get people who call. You're going to get people who ask, you know. When I use that script, or my version of that script, I give them a business card. And on my business card is my website, my phone number, my name. They don't even have to call me. They can look it up on the website, and all that information is right there. It's ready to go. You don't have to have all that, but think about putting it together as you do this if you're serious about being a real estate investor. We are up on a break. We got one more segment coming back, and we're going to keep talking about private money. By the way, before we go out of this break, private money is an OPM strategy. It is an other people's money strategy. So it is part of the OPM strategy. We'll be back in just a second.
I'm going to grab a bottle of water real quick.
Thank you for watching the Investor Guys podcast.
The Investor Guys podcast will be back shortly.
Absolution X. Lifestyle apparel like no other. Limited editions. Unique, exclusive designs. Seek your absolution. Get yours. Only at absolutionx.com.
Live the resort lifestyle every day with Cayman K. The perfect pieces for every wardrobe. Shop the entire Cayman K collection and find your favorites. Find all our styles at CaymanK.com.
You are watching the Investor Guys podcast.
And we are back on this last segment for private money, an OPM strategy. Let's give them the rest of the information they need for this, and then our next show we'll do another strategy for raising money. And there's more strategies than we're going to possibly be able to provide, because honestly, we're not even going to be able to think of all of them until after we've done this show. There's just so many different reasons. But today we're talking about private money that you're going to be able to get from people within your inner and maybe your outer circle, people that are a 6 degrees of separation situation that you're going to just be talking to. Put the information out there. Now, one of the things that I like to share, and Bill mentioned it briefly on our last segment, and I put this in my website when somebody goes to the website. A lot of people don't realize or don't think of the fact that they can be investing money out of their IRA or out of their 401k simply by making it a self-directed IRA or a self-directed 401k, which is an easy enough process to do. I remind them of that by, there's just little things on the bottom of my business card. It says, invest with your IRA, invest with your 401k. Okay. And when they go to the website, I provide a little bit more information on how they can do that and how their 401k or how their IRA will benefit from that, and how their retirement will benefit from having those assets in there. And instead of partnering with that person as an individual, we're partnering with that person in that person's IRA or that person's 401k. And instead of paying them that 10 to 12%, we're putting that 10 to 12% into their IRA or into their 401k. You'd be surprised how many people don't realize they can do that. They think that they have to pay a penalty if they take money out. They don't have to pay a penalty when they invest that way with a self-directed IRA or 401k. The other thing too is, a lot of people have money sitting aside in a CD or something like that that is not earning great income, that literally they could cash out early and still make enough money to cover the early fee and still have additional cash that would have been more than that CD would have paid out if they'd have carried it to term. So there's a lot of people out there. I have an ex-girlfriend who every time she got any cash, she would literally throw it into a CD. That was her strategy. That was her saving strategy. She probably has hundreds of thousands of dollars by now in CDs that she just keeps turning over and turning over and turning over. And there are people out there that is their investment strategy. If you show them a different way, you show them a better way, then the likelihood is that they're going to say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to give you all the money I have in my CDs, but I'm willing to try us out with, say, 20,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 or whatever else it is. The other thing is we'll talk about structures in a different show. But if you can't get all the money from one person, and these are investors as well because they're investing in you. If you can't get all the money from one of your investors, get 2 or 3. Let's say you need $100,000 and you've got somebody who's willing to give you 20, someone who's willing to give you 30, and someone who's willing to give you 50. Okay. Take all 3 of those people. You don't have to have one person who's going to give you $100,000. Take those 3 people, take that $100,000, put it into your investment, and give each one of them a 10 to 12% return on their $20,000, $30,000, and $50,000 respectively. This is Go ahead. This is not rocket science. It's just a matter of stretching your brain a little bit, looking outside of the box. Unfortunately, they don't teach this in school. They don't teach a whole lot in school anymore anyway. But this is not something you're going to learn in school. This is not something you're going to learn in college. This is something that you will learn from listening to old school investors like Bill and myself. This is something you might learn by reading a book, one of our books, somebody else's book. But this is not something that most people are thinking about or considering unless they're in this investing game. When I say investing game, I mean the money game. It could be stocks, it could be bonds, because all those things have the same type of investment strategy. You invest in them for return on your investment. One of the things I like to say, actually, I like to use Bob Allen's quote. Okay, you will not find any millionaires that became millionaires by putting their money in the bank. So, did you know, Bill? Did you know that Bob said that?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things I want to throw out that relate to what we're talking about there. One is we talked about, which is a great point, how you can have more than one person involved in funding the deal. Well, somebody might be saying, well, Bill goes, hey, Bill said you could have a first lien position. And there's only one first lien position. And that's a true statement. There is only one first lien position, but that first lien position can be shared by multiple people. And it's simply how you write the note up. And I've done that many times where I've had more than one person on the first lien, and it's delineated in the lien that Mary has a whatever 50,000 in the case that we're using 100,000 as an example. Mary has 50% of the first lien, John has 30%, and Fred has 20%, whatever it happens to be. So you can do that. And the other thing is, right before we get to the end here for today, we were talking about, you got to go out and get the funds put together. And when people call you and say, what do you have? You better have something ready, or you might lose them, and probably would lose them as an investor. And I tell people all the time, and I do this and I don't worry about it now. I have a different level of confidence because I've been doing it so long. But when I'm training and consulting with new students, I say to them, look, don't worry about the money, get the deal. Go out and get a deal under contract. Well, oh my gosh, how can I put a deal under contract if I don't know how I'm going to pay for it? We're going to pay for it with private money. Well, I don't have any of that set up, or I don't know, blah, 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 a million excuses. Why, look, when you set that deal up, I always do a close 30 days from execution, not from acceptance verbally, but from execution, or not from the date that is set on the contract when I send it to the real estate agent, because it could be a week or more before the seller actually signs it. So I always put in there that the close is 30 days from execution. Now, if I'm talking to somebody about private money, they want to know, do you have anything specific? That's why I like to I'll just go out and get a deal anyway, and I'll pay the escrow on it. And now I'm looking at, okay, I got 30 days. I need to shift my focus a little bit here and really hammer in on this deal. And usually, again, I've been doing it a lot longer, but in a week, that deal's funded, rehab's funded, boom, I've gotten everything set up so that when it closes, it gets rocking and running right off the bat. And then I'm out looking at the next deal. I'm not waiting till that deal closes before I'm making offers on the next property. I'm making offers on the next property immediately. I want to keep that pipeline full and keep that rotation going.
Yeah, and remember, you can use this private money as a down payment. You can use this as a down payment and still get funding from a conventional lender or a hard money lender or something like that. This does not have to cover the entire deal. You can have this as a down payment. A lot of times I'll have enough money from these private investors for a single deal that we've got the down payment and then some. I'll pay it down so our interest rate is less on the loan, or I'll put that extra money aside if we're doing a rehab so that we can go in there and do the rehab on the property. It does not have to be an all or nothing proposition. So make sure that you have your relationships in place with lenders as well, so that when you have this down payment that you've gotten from your private money, you've got your loan ready to go, because you don't want to spend 2 weeks putting together your down payment and then have to figure out how to get it funded in the last 2 weeks from a lender. Make sure you're doing everything simultaneously and at the same time. And again, there are so many tools and so many different structures that you can use to make all this happen, bring it all together. But again, it is a show for another time, and we are running out of time for this one. But we'll be back, and we're going to keep talking about OPM strategies, which are other people's money. We're going to talk about OPM strategies, which is the best way to buy an investment. It is leveraging your money. you are spending a minimal amount of money and making a maximum amount of return, not only on your money, but on other people's money. When you're making money on other people's money, that is the holy grail of investing strategies.
There you go.
Anything to add before we get out of here, Mr. Bill?
Sir, I think you covered extremely well today. Fun show, great information that people need to have. And look, if you're investing and getting started, go back and listen to this again and again and again and again and again. And we will see you on the next Investor Guys podcast.
Have a great one and happy investing.